it feels like it doesn't even matter, you know, like, cool, I got an interview. What was it for? I'm so terrified right now. I'm waiting for my email to load. Oops, sorry, my hand was in the way. It is October 7th. Sorry, this is such an unflattering angle. And I'm supposed to be hearing back from one of the schools that I applied to this week, the one that I interviewed for when I vlogged in the last video. So I've just been waiting. I don't know if I'm gonna hear today, tomorrow, but I'm like nervous.
The next day.
So I just got the email about, sorry, I'm not emotional or anything. I think I'm either getting sick or my allergies are acting up because of this like change in seasons. But I just got the email and they put me on the wait list. So at least it's not nothing. The only like downside about that is that typically you don't find out if you got off the wait list until February, March, like really late in the year. So yeah, now we'll just keep waiting to see if I hear back from other schools. I'm like slightly disappointed but not like defeated, because I wanted to hear like, oh yes, we gave you a spot, but we'll see how it goes.
1 minute 37 seconds later.
I'm just like marinating on this school. This is like my #1 choice, so I'm very disappointed about being on the wait list, but I'm like not gonna be defeated about it. But like, it sucks when you want to get in but you don't know if you will. So we'll see what is in store. But I had to email the school to accept my waitlist position, so we'll see how that goes. But yeah, I'm not happy, obviously, and I wish I would have been able to like record my initial reaction reading the email. So basically what will happen is if people decide to go to different schools and their spots open, then I will have the chance to like accept a position, but I probably won't find that out until March or maybe February, which sucks because theoretically I could have been accepted and we could have been singing happy songs around the campfire, and I would have known for sure that I at least got into one physical therapy school. So yeah, I'm very disappointed. Even though it's not necessarily bad news, I didn't want okay news. I wanted good news. I wanted like a for sure answer. And it's so funny because when you get the interview, you're like super grateful and excited, like, oh, you know, this is such a good accomplishment. But then you get waitlisted and it's like, if I don't get in, it feels like it doesn't even matter, you know, like, cool, I got an interview. What was it for? Because I didn't get in. So, you know what I mean? Like, what was it for? And I feel like that might be something that I'll know the answer to in hindsight, but like right now it's like, what was that for? So yeah.
Many months later.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so I just got an email saying that an update has been posted on my page regarding my application to school #3. And I'm so scared because I know it is inevitably the decision regarding whether I get in or not. And I am so scared because I feel like my interview wasn't the best. Oh God, because the first time I did an interview with school number 2, I felt good and I got waitlisted. This time I'm so scared. Like, I want to get in, no idea how it's gonna go. So, it is December 3rd, Tuesday. Thankfully, I don't have to work today. I feel like God has been very gracious because every time I have found out whether or not I've gotten in, I have not been at work. So I'm about to look. I'm hoping for at least the wait list. I'm scared to even look, but an update has been posted, so I'm gonna go check. Here we go. Gosh. I'm so terrified right now. I'm waiting for my email to load, and of course it's taking forever. I got in. Okay. OMG. Congratulations, you have been accepted for graduate studies at blank, effective summer 1, 2025. OMG. I'm so happy. You know what's so crazy? I literally, not even 5 minutes ago, just sat down and wrote down, today I'm hopeful for admission into a PT program this cycle, December 3rd. Not even 5 minutes ago, I just closed my notebook and then I just got. God is so good. And I write these, every time I write these things, I'm giving it to God. One thing I wrote in my ebook, my Plan J ebook, part 2, where I talk about joy. I talk about ways that you can practice joy and keeping God a part of your journey. Start your day writing off something you're hopeful for and end your day with something you're grateful for. So offer God something you're hopeful for so that you can give him room to move in your life, but then also end the day with gratitude for what he's already done. I am I'm so grateful. Wow. I was not expecting this. OMG. Like, I was not confident at all, but I am so grateful. Oh, and gosh, oh my gosh. Export as PDF. Okay, so present Jasmine here. It's May 10th while I'm recording this clip. There's a couple things we gotta clear up because I understand this might be a little bit confusing to understand. But my list of schools, there's 4 schools I applied to. I listed them based on how badly, like, who was my number 1 choice, my number 2, 3, and 4, basically, when I first was starting to apply. So school number 1 and number 4 are the schools I applied to that didn't do interviews. School number 2 and number 3 are the schools I applied to that did do interviews. So you guys just saw me get into school number 3. So a couple weeks after this, I ended up hearing back from school number 1, and they also were offering me a spot on the wait list. So I had already been through the whole wait list thing once, so it wasn't as devastating as it was when school number 2 waitlisted me. But at this point, since I had gotten into school number 3, I was excited. I was like, cool, that we got it. Like, the rest of them, I don't really care what they say. I got into somewhere. But school number 1 gave me until January 10th to either accept or decline my spot on the wait list. And by the time that rolled around, or I think, was it January 10th or January 5th? January, first week of January, they gave me to accept or decline my spot on the wait list, and I forgot about it. I forgot to respond to them and let them know if I wanted to accept or reject my spot. So I just kind of naturally assumed like, oh, that must mean that I just don't have a spot on the wait list anymore. And so life moved on. And fast forward to January 22nd, I believe, school number 2 spins the block and they're like, hey, congratulations, you've been accepted. And I'm like, what? Because I wasn't expecting to hear back from them so soon. I was expecting to hear back from them like February, March. But yeah, they were like, yeah, no, we actually are accepting you. I guess, you know, like I said, people either decline or accept their spot based on what school they get into, and so spots open up, and then that's when they give those spots to the people on the wait list because they know not everybody is gonna say yes to them. So I got accepted, but the problem was they were only giving me like 3 days to decide. So because I had already gotten into school number 3, I had a tough choice to make. And while I was thinking about it, I remember I was in the shower and I was like, you know what would God say about all this? Because school number 3 is a couple hours away from family, and school number 2 is like 20 minutes away from family. So it would have been, you know, way more convenient, way more nice to just go to school number 2 and be near family and friends. But I just felt like school number 3 was a good opportunity for me to like grow and learn how to handle being away from home and living on my own, all those things. So I was just really going back and forth with myself over like, do I accept my spot at school number 2? Because remember, school number 2 and school number 3 were like battling for number 1 because I like them so much. And so I thought about, okay, what would God say? And the first thing that came to my mind was, do you trust me? And so I was like, you know what? Yeah, that when I heard, do you trust me? It was like, okay, God is going to be with me wherever I'm at. And so whatever decision I make, he's going to be there to help me, take care of me, etc. And so I just decided, you know what? I'm going to stick with school number 3. And so I declined my admission at school number 2, but they accepted me. So I had 2 acceptances so far. And so I'm making, you know, my amends with the fact that, okay, I'm going to this school. I'm going to be a couple hours away from family, and I'm looking up apartments and all the stuff and trying to figure out my finances and all of these things because school number 3 starts in the summer. So yeah, time is winding down. And so it's like the next week, I kid you not, it's the next week, I'm in the middle of just walking down the stairs, minding my business. My phone, which is already in my hand because, you know, us and technology, we're attached at the hip these days. And I'm telling you guys all this right now because I obviously didn't film it. I filmed a little bit of what happened with school number 2 spinning the block and accepting me, but the first part of the video, I guess I accidentally deleted on my phone. So it was just like a second half out of context. So I'm just explaining it here. It's January 31st, the week after I heard from school number 2, and I'm walking down the stairs, minding my business. I'm halfway down the stairs, my phone goes off. I look at my phone, I get an email, and it's school number 4. Mind you, I had spent so much time, and I know I told y'all don't do this, but y'all just gotta trust me, okay? I'm telling y'all not to do it because I already did it. I was on the Reddit threads looking up like if people had heard back from schools yet. And one of the reasons why I was over it when I heard back from school number 1 and they put me on the wait list is because I found out that they had already been accepting people before the applications were even due. And they do rolling admissions, even though PTCAS says that they don't. So I was a little bit irritated, like, oh, so you guys do rolling admissions, but PTCAS says something else. So like, you got people thinking they have enough time, whatever. It ended up not mattering. So I say all that to say, I had been on Reddit and I had seen that people had already started to get accepted into school number 4 back in like October. So it's January. I'm assuming I'm not going to hear back from them until like March, and it's going to be a rejection. Okay, they are not thinking about your girl, because it took forever to hear back. I done heard back from all 3 other schools. I done heard back from one school twice. This one school didn't made one decision, then changed their mind and accepted me, and I haven't heard from school number 4 once. Okay, so it was like whatever. But when my phone goes off and I see the email from them, it says, congratulations, you've been accepted. And I'm like, oh. Because this school in particular is in the state that I'm already in. Like, I live with my mom and my stepdad on the East Coast right now. And you already know they would be over the moon if I stayed here and went to school. So I turn around and I tell my mom, and I'm like, I got accepted. And she's like, oh, because we had already assumed, like, okay, you know, you haven't heard back from them, it must be bad news. She was already coming to terms with the fact that I was going back to my home state. And so, like, she was okay, like, all right. But when she heard that, of course, she was happy, because she was like, oh my gosh, my baby is going to be able to just stay here. And I was like, but I don't want to go to, I was like so attached to school number 3. I was like, I don't want to go to school number 4. No, it was a very rough thought process of like, okay, what am I gonna do? And then I told my stepdad, and I thought he was gonna be understanding and like, yeah, do whatever is best for you. But he was adamant to like, Jasmine, school number 4 is like a really good option. And I feel like they were biased because they're my parents, but they did make good points about, you know, not having to worry about paying rent somewhere. And if something happens, we're right here. And all these other factors that were actually really valid points. But I was just so stuck on school number 3. And I think part of it was because school number 3 was the first school to accept me. It wasn't, oh, we're gonna put you on the wait list. It wasn't any of that. It was like they knew that I was somebody they wanted from the jump, at least after my interview. And so they had a special place in my heart because of that. But I took a weekend because school number 4 gave me a week to decide, thankfully, unlike school number 2, which gave me like 3 days to like figure it out. They gave me a week to decide, so I took the weekend and I went up to school number 4, which is like 30 minutes away from me. And I walked around the campus a little bit, walked around the area where the physical therapy program is held, and just talked over it with my family. And there was a couple factors that helped me decide, and I decided, you know what, yeah, with the, you know, we have a change in presidencies recently, and there's a lot of stuff in the air about whether certain departments are still going to exist, and if stuff hits the fan, I don't know what's gonna happen. None of us really know what's to come in the next 4 years. And I was like, you know what, I would rather be home here with family if stuff hits the fan and like I suddenly don't have a way to pay for school than to be 2 hours away from everybody, or at least 2 hours away from my family that I have in my home state if, you know, something goes wrong. Plus, school number 4 is a really good program also. So I think you guys gotta get the point. I have decided to go to school number 4. So they gave me until February 5th. I made up my mind by February 2nd. I went ahead and accepted my seat, put my seat deposit down. School number 4 was actually the only school, well, no, school number 2 had a seat deposit requirement also. School number 3 didn't, which I appreciated. So that was those were other things, just like on like if I was gonna accept schools or not, like the need to put down my deposit to accept my spot or not, and it's not refundable. Like if you decide not to go there anymore, you don't get your money back. But anyways, I accepted my spot on February 2nd, right? Everything's rocking and rolling. No, February 3rd, I accepted my seat because February was a Monday. So February 3rd, I accepted my seat. We're rocking and rolling. And then February 4th rolls around. Okay, so school number 1, the one that I was offered the wait list, but I forgot to respond, they just called me and offered me a seat to one of their new campuses that they are doing their physical therapy program at. And I'm just like, wow, the timing of everything is so funny. So I've officially been accepted into all 4 of the schools that I applied to. Of course, I'm only going to 1, but I was offered admission to every single school. Like, God is good. Like, that's crazy. And to think 5 years ago, I didn't think I was even good enough. And here I am. I just got a call and all of them have offered me admission. Wow. Very humbling. Very humbling in a good way. When I think back about how all of this played out, I just am like, God is so good, and his timing is so perfect. It's not even funny, okay? Because when you think about the fact that school number 4 was giving me until February 5th to make my decision, and then you consider the fact that school number 1 called me and changed their decision and had given me a spot in their program on February 4th. Okay, it's basically like if I had wanted to, if I had taken a little bit more time and still couldn't decide, I would have had another option to consider. School number 1, I could have ended up going to school number 1 if I wanted to. And so I was just thinking about how good God is, and it's just so funny. Like I ended up ultimately getting into all 4 schools that I applied to. Yay. But it was such a humbling experience because I felt like I wasn't going to be good enough to get into these schools like 5 years ago. And then here I am, and I got into all of them, whether it was a wait list first and then I got accepted, or if it was just like straight up, you got in. It was just a really humbling experience because I think sometimes when you are so set on thinking you're not good enough, that can come from a place of pride also. So it was humbling in the way where it's like, oh, so I actually don't know how like good or bad I am. And so I need to just have the humility to like let life happen and take it as it comes. So I'm obviously so grateful and so happy that I am able to go to physical therapy school this fall. And I'm not emotional. My nose is stuffy. And of course, like the more I'm talking, the more it's like getting worse. But I've already had all the emotions, trust me. But yeah, so I'm going to physical therapy school. I could go into so much detail about all the ways that God kind of showed up for me throughout my physical therapy school process, and I think I will, but I'll make it a separate video because I was getting little God winks throughout the entire process. And so yeah, I'm going to physical therapy school this fall, and I just wanted to share my journey to kind of give an example of what it looks like. I noticed that I hadn't seen somebody go from like point A to point B when it came to the full process of applying to physical therapy school. So I know my little series hasn't been perfect. There's one video that I wanted to put up here that you guys didn't even get to see because I filmed it on my MacBook and I had my AirPods in, and as soon as I said, hey guys, the audio cut out, and so there's 18 minutes of me talking where you can't hear me. And it was such a good video, and I was so upset that I couldn't post it, but I was thinking about lip reading and voiceovering that video because it was such a good video. But the point is, I wanted to share my journey and like give you guys a look at like what you can go through, what it might look like to go through the physical therapy process or the application process. And I legitimately started posting these videos before I knew if I had gotten into a school or not. And so to be here at the end of film, like all the videos, and knowing I got into all of them when it could have been the opposite, I'm very grateful, because I know there's people who went through the application cycle with me who probably didn't get the answers they wanted. But I'm putting this out here to encourage you, whether you're applying this year or you applied already, to keep going. 5 years ago, I didn't even apply because I was scared, and here I am now. So don't ever take a no as like a no, or just kind of take it as a try again or a redirection, and put your best foot forward and don't count yourself out because, you know, let other people do that. Don't be your own enemy. Yeah, I wish I had more eloquent things to say, but I talked long enough. If you have questions, please comment them under my videos. That was the entire point of me sharing this on YouTube, is so that you guys can ask me questions under my videos. Also, I didn't share my schools for a reason. One, I want some privacy, okay? I shared my journey when I went to UT Arlington, and people bombarded me with questions about UT Arlington. People found my Instagram when I had one. They would ask me stuff about UT Arlington, and I didn't mind, but like, I am not the spokesperson for UT Arlington. And I had other stuff that I wanted to talk about, and it was just like, all the attention on my channel became about UTA. So I didn't want to put anything about specific schools out there, because I know I'm gonna get questions about those specific schools instead of like the process in general. So I'm not going to be sharing what schools I applied to or what school I'm going to. It's not necessarily secret information. It's just I just wanted to be a little bit more private about that. Also, I don't want people to try to compare themselves to my results based on like schools, because if we're applying to the same schools and then you see what my stats were, when I say stats, I mean like test scores, GPA, that type of stuff. Observation hours, like people start to try to like measure themselves up and see like, okay, I probably have a good chance of getting into X, Y, and Z school. Don't do that, because you'll be surprised. Like sometimes they do not care as much about certain parts of your stats as much as they do how you interviewed, or there was a quality they really liked about you in your essay or whatever, okay? So yeah, please comment your questions on these videos. I don't know what the rest or the future of this channel is gonna look like anymore, to be quite honest. I'll leave it at that, but I definitely will be checking my videos regularly to look for questions or just general comments that you might have, and I will make videos answering those questions. That's for sure. Like, I do know I'll make videos answering your questions. So yeah, I hope you have enjoyed Plan J. My journey to PT school continues. Now I don't know if I'll be filming while I'm in physical therapy school. I might film here and there and then post it like after the fact.
like after the semester is done each time, because it's a lot of stuff to study. So I don't even want to stress myself out with like, oh, I gotta post on YouTube. I'll see y'all when I see y'all. So now what I plan to do until the fall is to just enjoy life, enjoy my free time while I have it, and figure out myself some more. And I will see y'all when I see y'all.